Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, October 5, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the point in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:39 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:39 p.m. Jamaica time. We can still see that we're monitoring that broad area of low pressure right here across the southern main development region that now has a high chance of becoming the next named system over the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can see that it is right here just to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Island. Not really looking as impressive as it was looking yesterday, but it is still trying to get its act together. You can also see another tropical wave right here just to the east of the Leeward Islands, still watching the trough clouds and frontal systems attached to what's left of Imelda, extending down to the Bahamas and the Gulf. A lot of moisture across the Western Caribbean into Central America as we speak as well. But we're going to be, zooming in on what the Hurricane Center has stated regarding this area. So they've stated here, a broad area of low pressure associated with a low latitude tropical wave continues to produce a large area of disorganized cloudiness and showers several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. Environmental conditions appear conducive for additional development of this system, and a tropical depression is likely to form by midweek as it moves quickly across the central tropical Atlantic, approaching the Leeward Islands by the latter part of this week. Interest there should monitor the progress of this system, and we see that they've given the area a 50% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 70% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And we know that the next name on the list is Imelda. Well, Jerry, I should say. Definitely the next name on the list. As of right now, the close-up of this area not really looking that impressive. Don't see a lot of deep convection, but it has been now designated Invest 95L. We know that when systems become an invest, basically they're investigating the area. So basically they can run some special supercomputer models like the spaghetti models on the system, and get a actual track and on where the system could go, as well as the intensity of the system for sure. So that's why they dub them Invests. It's definitely an area of low pressure already. As of right now, the Euro EPS, the Euro Spaghetti Model Plus, definitely in consensus for the most part, taking the system towards the west-northwest, possibly even making it up to hurricane status before it makes it just to the north of the Leeward Islands here. The GFS Spaghetti Model Plus, the GFS ensembles, we see that a lot of them take it into portions of the Eastern Caribbean, especially the Northeastern Caribbean right here. Look at this little one that goes through the Windward Islands and possibly even makes it to the south of Jamaica. We know that that won't happen. One way that would happen is if we continue to see it trending more so towards the west, and that's not impossible for it, not to happen. But considering that majority of the consensus for the past couple of days and even today still take it towards the Leeward Islands, let us see how it actually evolves over the next couple of days. Regarding the intensity model guidance, most models here are in agreement that it should definitely take it up to tropical storm status within the next 24, if not the next 48 hours for sure. Some of them even making it up to category 1, category 2, category 3, even category 4 status right in here. It's going to be very interesting to see all of this plays out over the next 7 days. Regarding what the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs are showing, this map from the Euro is showing 0Z on Saturday, October 11, which is actually 7 p.m. on Friday, October 10. And this is where the Euro has the system just to the north of the Leeward Islands, the US and British Virgin Islands right in there. And regarding what the GFS is showing, do we have agreement? The GFS is showing it in the same circle, but a bit more to the east and a bit stronger than what the Euro was showing for sure. Very interesting. We'll see it actually plays out. The Euro has been faster and weaker. The GFS has been slower and stronger. We'll see how it plays out over the next 7 days. Let us see if it actually continues showing this kind of trend. The more it shows it, the higher the chances of it actually happening. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we mentioned all of these entities on the infrared, the frontal system still extending from what was left of Imelda, extending down into the Bahamas. We see the clouds associated with a tropical wave right here to the east of us, trough attached to the eastern end of that tropical wave, another tropical wave right here, and that tropical wave that has a high chance of development over the next 7 days. All of these being steered by that ridge of high pressure to the north from east-west, if not east, southeast to west, northwest. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out all of these entities that we just mentioned. The clouds associated with the frontal system extending down into the Bahamas. We can also see the clouds associated with that tropical wave right here to the east of the Leeward Islands. To the east of that, we have that trough. We have another tropical wave right in here, and that other tropical wave that has a high chance of development within the next 7 days. Definitely having that look already to it. You can see that kind of banding feature, kind of spinning kind of feature as well. So although we don't have crazy deep convection around it, it definitely has that look already. So who knows, maybe tropical storm status could happen within the next 24 hours, like what the intensity model guidance is showing. Alright, so we'll be talking about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday, October 5, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica on Sunday afternoon. And we know northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 4:35 p.m, the visible and infrared satellite images were posted not only here on our Twitter page with Jamaica, but they were also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see that at around 4:35 p.m. we were highlighting the fact that we definitely had the clouds bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated thunder showers across sections of some northern and western parishes for sure. So anywhere from Westmoreland northward, so Westmoreland into Hanover, section of St. James, more so central to southern St. James. So too central to southern Trelawney, central to southern St. Anne, section of southern St. Mary, far northern St. Catherine, and far northern St. Andrew definitely got in on the afternoon thunder shower activity, while other parishes were getting in on the upper level wind shear clouds. Definitely some cloudy conditions across some southern parishes like St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and definitely partly cloudy if not sunny across Portland into St. Thomas for sure. And we can see that even better on the visible satellite images of Jamaica before we lost sunlight. We can make out the clouds building across the northern portion of some southern parishes, spilling into sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, and all of the high clouds being pushed back towards the east southeast by that upper level wind shear. And we can see it all even better. I love the cumulonimbus clouds in the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, right? Not to mention the sparkling white dust that represents some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. Even by the end of it, we saw some thunderstorms right here to the north of Hanover, to the northwest of St. James, right over there. And unfortunately, we don't have the Jamaican Doppler radar to show. Glitched out since yesterday. The live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, though, showing that it was definitely overcast in Westmoreland. Well, Little London, Westmoreland, maybe Eastern Westmoreland might have gotten in on that heavy afternoon rainfall. But as you can see here, it was overcast for the most part in Little London, Westmoreland. Nothing to do with bad weather taking place at around 3:37 p.m. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit C Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website. This map does indeed paint quite the picture of where we had that rainfall today, especially across sections of some northern and western parishes, for sure, just like what the satellite imagery was showing. And we have a few comments from some of our followers about what the weather was like in their area today. We have Active 4081 stating Clarendon cloudy. That was posted an hour ago. On our Instagram page, we had Jana Walker White stating Portmore hot bad, nothing new. We also have on our TikTok page Max Wandon stating no rain Kingston. Earthly Amethyst stating got some rain about an hour ago. Wonder what parish that was. Alright, so that indeed confirms the rainfall for those spots. Thanks for the comment. Alright, so we're about to reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. The latest Cuban Doppler radar, the latest Cayman radar. We want to see exactly what's taking place right now. Alright, so the latest still image from the Weather Nerds website is showing 23:45 UTC, which is actually 6:45 p.m. So this just came out 11 minutes ago, considering that it is 6:56 p.m. right now. And as you can see from the thunderstorms that we mentioned that were to the north of Hanover, just some high clouds are being pushed back towards the east-southeast across coastal Hanover into St. James and Trelawney. Do we actually have rainfall underneath this cloud? Let us confirm with the Doppler radar. Jamaican Doppler radar glitched out. Cuban Doppler radar also looks like it glitched out at around 2:40 p.m. That was about 1:40 p.m. Jamaica time, where at that time we're getting in on some rainfall across sections of eastern Westmoreland. But we're going to be focusing on the Cayman radar. The Cayman radar is going to be showing us that rainfall to the north of Hanover, definitely in line with the showers that we see out to sea to the north of Hanover, and then the cloud toss being sheared off towards the east-southeast into St. James. So definitely overcast over there, but the rainfall is out to sea to the north of Hanover. And we also see some decent moisture in and around the Cayman Islands as we speak. We see the greens into the yellow, some moderate to some slightly heavy rainfall to the north of there, to the south of there, to the southwest and to the southeast of there. Maybe some rainfall in store for them this evening into tonight. We'll see. But regarding what's taking place right now around the flat bridge, the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing people in their vehicles going about their business. Definitely fair conditions taking place. Nothing in the way of bad weather right now, but the rear Cobra definitely changed color today, because if we backtrack, we see that it's not that usual greenish shade, just to indicate that we've been getting in on some rainfall across the areas upstream, northern St. Catherine, southern St. Mary's, southern St. Anne. This is why it changed color for sure, because we know that it usually has that greenish kind of shade. So they've definitely been getting in on some rainfall upstream for sure. But as of right now, according to the live camera, definitely fair conditions, people in their vehicles going about their business, and that should be the order of the evening into the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Monday, temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some grays and some slight yellows. That represents average to at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. We know the normal temperature for the month of October across Jamaica is around 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 31.6 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31.6 to 32.6 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Monday. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat, and we're also grateful that we didn't see any maintenance outage advisories from my JPS online Twitter page that we have to highlight, so that's good. But regarding the tips to beat the heat, as usual, it states here: dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom, and as you can see, we still have some dry air off the coast of Africa across the northern Mediterranean region into the northern portion of North Atlantic, and we know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain. And what we like that we're seeing is a lot more moist air across the western Atlantic into the eastern Pacific, into the southern and western Mediterranean region. You notice wherever we have the blues, that's the moist air. That's where we have most of the clouds and the grays. And wherever we have the clouds, that's where we have more of the rainfall. And that's what we want, more of the clouds to bring us rainfall, to cool down the temperatures and keep water in our pipes. Regarding the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days, so we're heading into October 6, October 7, and October 8. And as you can see here, Jamaica should be in the clear for the next 3 days, even though we have a plume of Saharan dust pushing through the main development region. At first we saw it in the oranges and the pinks, so the more it pushes westward, the more it turns into the oranges, and then eventually back to being some yellows, eventually, hopefully. As of right now, it seems like quite a vigorous kind of plume pushing to the west. Could be affecting portions of the Eastern Caribbean later on, we'll see. But hopefully by the time it gets to us here in Jamaica, it has dwindled down, because you know that the Saharan dust can definitely cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're grateful that these days we don't really have much Saharan dust to worry about, but let us see if we do have this plume to worry about later on. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, still seeing some high waves to the north of the Caribbean, to the north of the Bahamas. That's a dark blue into the purples, into the pinks. That represents anywhere from 2 up to 3 meter wave height. While the Caribbean getting in on the light shades of blues to blues. That's representing anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 1 meter wave height. And that is because of the winds that are expected. We see more of an easterly flow across the majority of the Caribbean, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 knots at most. While the area to the north of the Bahamas, definitely some 20 to 25, maybe even up to 30 knot winds expected up there. That's why the waves are going to be so high up there as well. And regarding the wave forecast for the Fisher folk tomorrow, we have 0.5 meter wave height expected to the north of Portland tomorrow, 0.3 meter wave height to the north of St. Anne, 0.4 meter wave height to the north of Hanover, 0.4 meter wave height to the south of Westmoreland, to the south of Clarendon, 0.6 meter wave height expected, to the south of St. Thomas, 0.6 meter wave height expected tomorrow. And that's because of the winds. We can clearly see an easterly flow around the island tomorrow. Winds are from the east, averaging about 9 knots to the north of St. Anne, to the south of St. Thomas 12 knots. And we also see where the air is expected to pile up, wherever we have the least amount of wind. That is where we could have some of these low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds, when we have that daytime heating. And the upper-level winds seem to be coming in from the north tomorrow, so that could definitely favor more of that rainfall if you actually get it. Across section of some southern parishes in the afternoon, so look out if you're in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas, for that afternoon rainfall tomorrow, especially the areas to the west of St. Thomas. Don't really get the afternoon rainfall in St. Thomas like that, but we'll see. And regarding the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 10 a.m. Jamaica time. And what do both maps agree on? Both maps agree on the fact that the eastern end should be getting on some rainfall. We see the blues, especially out to sea, across section of maybe St. Thomas, maybe Portland, maybe even spilling into sections of St. Mary. The Euro trying to incorporate some central to western parishes, but not so much the GFS at that time. But it is definitely during the afternoon that we see the rainfall across the rest of the island. Look at that. It's definitely a cross section of some central and western parishes, and even some southeastern parishes as well. But we see that the concentration is definitely for the south coast getting in on that rainfall. And we know we have to use the GFS because the GFS is more accurate regarding the afternoon rainfall. Even although the Euro is showing rainfall across almost all parishes from east to west, the GFS making more sense with that afternoon rainfall. So yes, it is the south coast day. We're grateful for that. And as you can see here, we have areas such as maybe Hanover, more so southern Hanover, southern St. James, southern Trelawney, southern St. Anne, and we also see southwestern Portland, western St. Thomas, Kingston and St. Andrew shaded in blues for rainfall. So two sections of St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland. Look out for that rainfall. So clearly tomorrow is going to be a daylight morning rainfall for eastern parishes. So we're talking about those parishes in the county of Portland, St. Thomas. Then afternoon rainfall for some southern parishes. So look out for that afternoon daytime heating rainfall. So it's going to be, yes, central and western parishes, but with the brunt of the activity across section of some southern parishes for sure. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that within the next 24 hours, somewhere in Jamaica should definitely be getting in on some rainfall. The Euro going up to at least 0.36 of an inch of rainfall right here in the Kingston and St. Andrew area. With the totals, the GFS going up to at least 0.32 of an inch of rainfall in the St. James area. And whatever happens, we will definitely take it because we're in the month of October. And in St. Thomas, whose bar graph is being shown right here, we usually receive around 257 millimeters of rainfall for October. That is about the same as 10.1 inches of rainfall. Not even Portland gets that much rainfall. They get 9. So St. Thomas is usually the wettest during October. While in St. Andrew, we usually receive 196 millimeters of rainfall during October. That's about 7.7 inches of rainfall. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of October or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com and that website to show you that information. And you can use this you can use this website here. This website will definitely show you. It even shows the average temperatures for these parishes as well. Very handy parish. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours that stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we're starting with 12Z on Tuesday, October 7, because we already looked at what Monday is going to be like. 12Z, as you know, is about 7 a.m. Don't really have much of anything across Jamaica at that time on the Euro. Then on Tuesday afternoon, look at the rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. Interesting. What does the GFS show for the same time? Tuesday morning, not really much of anything. Tuesday afternoon, rainfall looks like it's a cross section of some northern and western parishes. What do we see on Wednesday morning on the Euro? Wednesday morning, we're seeing some rainfall across the far eastern end of the island. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across some eastern and maybe some central and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, not really much of anything on the GFS. Wednesday afternoon, eastern, central, and western parishes too. Interesting. What do we see on Thursday morning? Thursday morning, we see some rainfall to the south of us. Then on Thursday afternoon, it looks like some rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. And there we have future Jerry starting to affect portions of the Lesser Antilles. What does the GFS show? Thursday morning, not much of anything across Jamaica. Thursday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Interesting. And there we have Jerry, definitely looking more formidable, not yet bearing down on the Lesser Antilles, but definitely looking stronger than what the Euro was showing, just like what we highlighted regarding what's expected on Friday morning on the Euro. Friday morning, don't really see much of anything across Jamaica. Friday afternoon, we see some rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on the GFS? Friday morning, not really much of anything across Jamaica. Friday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across some central and western parishes. Alright, so what's expected on Saturday morning? Saturday morning, not really seeing much of anything across Jamaica on the Euro. Saturday afternoon, look at that, rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 1 John 68 hours. So this is valid for Sunday, October 12th. Don't really see much of anything across Jamaica. We do see some moisture to the southeast of us though. Very interesting. What do we see on the GFS? Saturday morning, not really much of anything. Saturday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across some eastern, northern, and western parishes. Then, at the end of the 1 John 68 hours, just like on the Euro, we're stopping it at Sunday, October 12th. Not really seeing much of anything. Maybe some isolated shores across some northern and western parishes, but that's basically it. And the Euro and the GFS almost has the system, that's future Jerry, in the same spot. Euro has it right here, just to the south of Bermuda. The GFS has it right here to the south of Bermuda, even stronger than what the Euro has. That has been the trend. We'll see it actually plays out. And whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS are in line with the rainfall totals over the next 7 days. Both maps right here are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Sunday, October 12th. And as you can see, all of the dark reds into the purples and the pinks, even into the all the way up to the peaches and the blues, there represents maybe all the way up to maybe even 10 inches of rainfall across the waters to the east of the Leeward Islands, some of it affecting the Leeward Islands and pushing north, associated with where future Jerry should be. We also see the rainfall total still expected to be up there, the 2 to 3 inches or more across the Bahamas, into Cuba, into Florida, so too sections of Central America, into northern South America, even portions of Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, getting in on some of the rainfall totals that could trigger some amount of isolated flash flooding. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with that forecast. And that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. While other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, reds, that we know represents an inch or less of rainfall, so most of the Greater Antilles into the southeastern Caribbean, just expect an inch of rainfall or less in those spots. And if we take a look at Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Sunday, October 12th. And we see Jamaica shaded from the eastern end to the western end in the blues, the greens, the yellows, the oranges. That represents anywhere from 10 millimeters of rainfall all the way up to maybe 50 millimeters in some isolated spots. In the oranges, the GFS, a bit more reserved. The blues into the greens into the yellows, that represents anywhere from 10 millimeters all the way up to maybe 30, maybe 40 millimeters of rainfall. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Alright, so regarding what's taking place across the rest of the Caribbean, not really seeing much taking place across southeastern Cuba or Hispaniola, but we do see some moisture right in here across portions of western Puerto Rico today. We also see a lot of moisture across the western Caribbean and the southwestern Caribbean, spilling into Central America. They've definitely been getting some decent afternoon rainfall. But we're going to be looking at what's taking place near Puerto Rico right now. We see some rainfall across northern and northwestern, as well as to the waters to the southwest of Puerto Rico. We also see some rainfall in and around sections of the Leeward Islands. And if we load these images from earlier today, we saw where we had some decent, moderate to heavy rainfall across especially western Puerto Rico right over there today. Regarding what's taking place on the Barbados radar, we see some hit or miss isolated light to moderate rainfall to the east of Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, in and around Martinique. Well, in and around St. Lucia, especially to the north and west of St. Lucia. We don't really see much around St. Vincent or Barbados, but we do see some isolated shores passing just to the southeast of Grenada right there. We also see some moisture to the east of Tobago and Trinidad right there. And regarding the weather via Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall pushing into eastern Nicaragua, some rainfall to the west of Jamaica, some rainfall across sections of coastal Cuba, section of Colombia, eastern and northwestern Venezuela getting some rainfall as well. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that these areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds should be getting on some amount of rainfall over the next 24 hours, we see areas like Florida into the Bahamas, Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, sections of St. Martin, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique. Some rainfall for sections of St. Lucia, maybe Barbados. Some rainfall also in store for portions of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan getting some of that. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS Mars are in agreement with that forecast. Taking a look at what's taking place across the Eastern Pacific. So, look at that. Tropical storm Octave has now been upgraded to a hurricane. If you remember, a lot of S's is what we saw, but it definitely beat the odds. And to the east of Octave, we still have Hurricane Priscilla right here off the coast of Mexico. And to the east of that, we have an area that has a medium chance of development within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can make out all of these entities. We see Hurricane Octave right in here, still pushing out towards the east. We can also see Hurricane Priscilla right here. Look how huge Hurricane Priscilla is. Still bringing some outer bands to portion of coastal Mexico. And we still have a lot of clouds associated with that code orange. That could be the next named system. So after Priscilla comes that system which would be named Raymond. And if we take a look here regarding Hurricane Octave, should maintain hurricane status for the next couple of hours, then back to tropical storm status by Monday morning. It's expected to possibly intertwine with Hurricane Priscilla for sure by around Wednesday. More than likely going to be absorbed by that system. As of right now, it is packing 80-mile-per-hour winds. I know that systems that pack anywhere from 74 to 95-mile-per-hour winds are classified as Category 1 hurricanes. So it is up there in the intensity. It is moving right now towards the northeast at 6 miles per hour. And we see how far the tropical storm force winds extend. Not going to be affecting land though. But look at this. Hurricane Priscilla. Quite huge. That we still have the tropical storm watches up for coastal southwestern Mexico in the yellows. And we see how far the tropical storm force winds extend in the gold. As of right now, it is packing 75 mile per hour winds. So 5 mile per hour winds shy of what Octave was packing. So it's a weaker system. Usually the larger ones are weaker in a sense, but it is definitely going to be intensifying. Wouldn't be surprised if we see some M's popping up over the next couple of days, making it up to Category 3 or 4 status, major hurricane status. It is now moving towards the north-northwest at 3 miles per hour, very slowly, which explains why we still have a lot of moisture to receive over there. We still have the rainfall forecast. Still predicting light greens into the dark greens to represent anywhere from 1, maybe even up to 4 inches of rainfall. That's anywhere from 25 to 100 millimeters of rainfall across coastal Mexico. So there could definitely still be somewhat of isolated flash flooding, if not some landslides, if not some mudslides taking place over there. Regarding what's taking place on the Indian Ocean side of things and Western Pacific side of things, all courtesy of the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, we're still watching Tropical Cyclone Shakti, which is now affecting portions of Oman right here. They're definitely getting in on some of the outer bands. Well, not really. It looks like they're getting in on the western side of the system in general. We're still watching Typhoon Matmu, which is now bearing down on southern China. And to the east of Matmu, we now have Tropical Storm Halong just to the southeast of Japan. And we can see both systems right here on the Western Pacific infrared. All of the clouds heading into southern China as we speak, also affecting portions of Vietnam as well. And to the east of that, we have that new tropical storm. And if we zoom in on Matmu, Matmu is right here affecting southern China as we speak. As a matter of fact, before we even look at Matmu, let us look at the other system that is affecting Saudi Arabia. Well, not Saudi Arabia, Oman, I believe. I'll load it up. Here we go. So here it is right here. If you remember yesterday, it was, well, even before yesterday, it was expected to go southwest and then possibly push back to the east and not even brush them at all. But look at that, Oman in the desert. They're getting in on some rainfall associated with the system, and it's a desert, so it's definitely going to be very easy to flood. Wouldn't be surprised if we get some footage out of this country on the social media, highlighting the impact that took place. We see how far it is out to sea, but we still have a lot of clouds affecting the land area right in here. Still expected to push out towards the south and then southeast. As of right now, it is packing 55 knot winds. We know that systems that pack anywhere from 34 to 64 knot winds are classified as tropical storms. So it's up there in the tropical storm intensity, not weak at all. Regarding the other system, that is that tropical storm Halong, we can see it right here to the southeast of Japan. Not really looking that all put together right now, no defined eye or anything like that, but that could definitely change. If you remember, the intensity guidance takes it all the way up to 100 knots, 125 knots as well. So that would make the system a category 4 hurricane before it actually makes its closest pass to mainland Japan right over here. And as you can see, it's expected to stay offshore the southeastern side of Japan as it pushes off towards the northeast eventually. As of right now, 55 knot wind is what it's packing, so about the same as the other system that we just mentioned. But this is what we're looking at now. This is Typhoon Matmo, now affecting China into Vietnam. We have a lot of friends or relatives who live or work down there, so we have another system affecting the same area that was affected by Typhoon Boaloy. My goodness, a lot more flooding expected. As of right now, it is packing 65 knot winds, and it is expected to decrease in intensity the more west-northwest it pushes. 45 knots, 30 knots, 20 knots as it moves over land and loses all of that warm water to keep it steady in the intensity. And we already have a lot of footage coming out. This is Weather Monitor on Twitter. You need to follow this page if you haven't been following it. They actually post a lot of footage regarding what these tropical systems do worldwide. So subscribe today or follow today if you haven't been doing so. They've stated here, Typhoon Matmo is currently hitting Zhejiang City in China. And look at that. Did you see what it just did? It literally flipped a truck over on its side. Look at the strong wind and the heavy rain. This is what these systems do in general for sure. That is just crazy. Now, another one right here. This one states, Typhoon Matmo hits Yangjiang, Guangdong, China this morning, causing huge waves and flooded roads with submerged cars. Our authorities advise avoiding Jiangjiang, Maoming, and Yangjiang. Over 150 people evacuated. Look at that. Already have inundation taking place. A lot of storm surge taking place. This is just crazy. This is what these tropical systems do. Nobody wants this at all. A lot of flooding, a lot of high waves. My goodness. We also have another video right here. Typhoon Matmo struck the same areas in China today, bringing ferocious winds, stirring waves, and flooding. Look at that. Look at that. We have people still out. It's China, so people are working hard. Out in a whole typhoon. This is just crazy. Imagine you're in the line at a stoplight waiting your turn while there's a whole hurricane affecting you. People on their bikes being blown while they're in a whole hurricane. That is just crazy. These Chinese people are real workaholics. Look at that. Look at that storm surge coming in. This is why I don't like glass windows and doors, you know. Don't like it at all. Not to say that the others wouldn't, produce the same results, but boy, I just don't like glass breaks. Anyways, there we see the system tearing up areas. My goodness, a lot of footage coming in here. Let's see, we also have another video right here. Typhoon Matmo is continuing its westward path, hitting Beihai, Guangxi, China, with wind gusts reaching up to 99 miles per hour. Look at the strong wind and heavy rainfall. This is some sheet of rainfall blowing towards this direction. Can you see it? This is just crazy. And we finally have one last one, basically highlighting the same thing that we just showed with the storm surge pushing a lot of water into the resident's house right there. Hopefully we don't hear any crazy footage coming, well, any news coming out about loss of life or anything like that, because boy, these hurricanes can be crazy. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.